Talented, multitasking, multi-everything people out there. Take it away.
Find your glory, write your story, fearless feet will carry you. Time you own it, take your moment, be a fire burning through. Hustling from night until morning, grinding it out, it won't be long. Feel your power, it's your hour, you inspire, you are strong.
Enjoy your Zoa. No applause? You're all fired.
Now that you've reached the stage in your life where quality television is important, Nubian TV is a black network that speaks to your lifestyle. Nubian TV is the world's first digital network devoted to the upscale and political lifestyles of black people. Nubian TV's programming includes politics, travel, fashion, food, automotive, arts and culture, civil rights, music, and more. Watch now on Amazon Fire TV, Roku, or watch globally at nubiantv.net. Nubian TV, it's what you want to watch.
Come with me if you want to live a more delicious life.
Oh, maybe we should get in the van.
In this world, we don't get to control much. The past, male pattern baldness.
Leggies.
Got one right now. The urge to pop that bubble wrap. But there is one thing we do get to choose every single day: what we eat. Welcome to the Sonic Department of Research and Deliciousment. We have everything you want, didn't know you wanted, and some things you didn't know were possible. Because we believe if you're not having fun, you're not living free. So come on, let's live a little.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Money! Are you ready? They are ready. Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
It's always a good time. That's what the show's about.
That's good.
Really good. Very good.
Coming in hot, Jimmy, coming in hot.
It's far from elementary.
Good morning, America. I'm not going to try to strut like Michael or anything.
I have known George a long, long time.
Have you ever gotten him to dance?
Look at that face.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'm in. That tells you something when Snoop Dogg's in. Michael, George, where?
Ginger.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.
Well, hello, and a good morning to you, and you. What a week this has been. Oh, my Lord Jesus. Like I said in my description box, we'll turn down the music for a bit. Like I said in my description box, we had Diddy trial, right? Then Tyler Perry, and now Fat Joe, along with Juneteenth, in the same week. What the helly, in terms of what the young people say, is going on here? Well, we do have a lot more to talk about here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 destinations for y'all this morning. Tyler Perry. There is more coming out. I saw a video from Storm Monroe about Tyler Perry's casting couch. So apparently there will be some more stuff coming out there. But there was one in particular video that I want to show you guys from what's happening that somebody went on to TikTok. They had a lot to say. We'll get to that. Sony is interested in buying Warner Bros. Discovery, and I'm going to show you how that could actually work out for Sony in a very huge way. Damson Idris, you saw the thumbnail there with him doing that iconic pose there at the 90th Oscars with the one and only John Singleton. Rest in peace to him. Could that be a sign that he's joined the Marvel Cinematic Universe? We'll get to that. A health update for you all that you need to be aware of. Kamala Harris, you remember we covered that lawsuit that is happening in Rockford County, New York. Well, it is moving forward. We'll talk about that. Speaking of court, Chris Brown is in court in the United Kingdom today for the assault that he did a couple of years ago. Juneteenth, of course, was yesterday. Of course, it's Juneteenth weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so please enjoy. But can 47 really get rid of Juneteenth? I have some good news. Okay. All right. Okay. Then finally, Hulu expanding through Disney Plus. I think that's a dumbass plan. I'm going to tell you why. We have a lot to talk about here. Higher is way and low is available. But either way, we are live on tour. Let me take down this iconic intro here. You see that virtual tour background? Yes, you do. You hear that virtual tour music? Yes, you do. One thing to know, two things for sure on this channel right here. A lot happens early. Roll.
It's a new morning for America's family. Sun's coming up, so make it all that it can be. You know a lot happens early.
I'm Harry Smith.
I'm Julie Chen. I'm Maggie Rodriguez.
Morning everywhere. Come on, get up.
I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Dave Price.
And it's a little early for this.
Right now, this it's a new morning for America's family. Sun's coming up, so make it all that it can be. You know a lot happens early. Every day's good when you're starting it out right. But whatever you do, the daylight. And a lot happens early. Can you feel it? And I say,
Good morning, everybody.
Are you girls ready for the Jonas Brothers?
We have an early show exclusive. Yes.
A lot happens early.
A lot happens
Early.
The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.
It's a new morning.
Yes, it is Julie Chen Moonfest. That's the fireworks are going off behind us here to celebrate the fact that on this channel a lot happens early. So Russ Mitchell, Dave Price, Harry Smith, and Maggie Rodriguez. You are absolutely right. On this channel right here, a lot happens early. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully all is well with you. Let's get to the getting and doing what we do, because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 destinations for you all. We're going to kick it off with Tyler Perry. A lot is going on with him. Oh, my Lord Jesus. My Lord. So we're going to kick it off right here with this. What's happening? Shout out to what's happening, by the way.
He's got the whole world in his hands. Got the whole world in his hands. Hey, I'm just sitting here on my porch just looking. What am I looking at? I'm looking to the hills from whence cometh my help. For my help, some of y'all know the rest. I just wanted to come on and just tell everybody, just be as calm as you can.
Hey everyone, welcome back to What's Happening. So today we are still talking about Tyler Perry and this $260 million lawsuit that was filed by actor Derek Dixon, who alleges S.A. harassment, and retaliation during his time that he worked on Tyler Perry shows The Oval and Ruthless. But what's even more striking is
connectivity through Spectrum is vital, provides us with reliability, lightning speeds, and
the backlash that Tyler is receiving on social media. And not only that, there is a new allegation involving one of Tyler Perry's executives. So for those who might not be up to speed, Derek Dixon claims that Tyler Perry used his position of power to coerce him into unwanted advances, promising career opportunities in exchange. And the lawsuit includes allegations of incidents at Tyler Perry's home and during work-related trips. Now, Derek Dixon is seeking $260 million in damages, and the case has drawn comparisons to some other high-profile abuse cases in Hollywood. But let's back up and take a look at this new accusation from a man who said he was RA'd by one of Tyler Perry's executives. Tyler Perry knew about it, and basically he was kind of, I think, paid off to just hush. So let's take a look at what he put out here.
Now, trigger warning to everybody, okay? So if this triggers you, just, mute me for a couple of minutes, and when it's done, you can unmute, okay? I'll let you know when to unmute, because like I said, it's 11 a.m. Your brain should be up by now, but that doesn't mean that your trauma is up, okay? Just want to protect everybody here. All right, here we go.
So under Tyler Perry's post, a woman just commented, and she said, "Please don't settle, Mr. Perry. Seems like his play from 2020, and he didn't get his show on air from you. So now he decides to file a lawsuit. Prayers going on for you." So of course she's talking about Derek Dixon. And someone by the name of Braxton Official on social media said, "The victim ain't lying. Go look at my story." Then they tagged her again and said, "Let me speak for myself, because this is my truth and I won't let anyone twist it." So he says, in January of 2022, while I was working across state lines, I was RA'd while intoxicated by Mark Swinton, who was a senior producer at Tyler Perry Studios. He said, "I was flown to Georgia for work. I was disoriented, under the influence, and unable to give consent, and he violated me. That is legally RA under Georgia law." He says, and yes, Tyler Perry knew about it. He was made aware of what happened, and instead of removing Mark Swinton from his position, he says he kept him in office, fully aware that was a felony offense. He then says that's called being an accessory after the fact. And in Georgia, he says that's a crime. He goes on to say afterward that he was manipulated, not just by the people who protected his RAs, but he said, but even by my own attorney. I was discouraged from going to the police. He says, I was told I had no case, and he was pressured to sign a settlement that silenced him. He said that he was threatened that if he spoke up, he would be sued, even though he was the victim. For a while, he said he stayed silent, not because he was weak, but because he was surviving. He says, but Yahweh gave me strength. He showed me the strength behind the system I was caught in. He reminded me that no contract, no studio, no man can override his power or his justice. Now, he says, I filed a criminal complaint. He said there is an active investigation in Georgia, and the truth is being brought into the light. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about fame. This is about what was done to me, how it was covered up, and how Yahweh pulled me out of darkness so I could speak for every survivor still silenced by fear, contracts, or shame. He says, I was RA'd. I was intoxicated. I was manipulated, and now I'm telling the truth without fear because Yahweh is my strength, not Hollywood. You may not understand, but the truth doesn't need your permission to be real. He then goes on to tag her, and he says, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians 5:11. He also says that he was on the Oval, which is one of Tyler Perry's creations. He says, I met Derek on set too. He says, I don't know the man's whole life, but I can tell what goes down in that place called Tyler Perry Studios. Someone asked him how much they pay to settle. Now, he didn't respond to that, but he did post quite a bit of information in his stories. He started off by saying, y'all want to believe someone now, but y'all didn't want to believe me. He says, but the whole truth is coming out now. But the only reason why this stuff is coming out now is because he pissed off Hollywood, and now they bringing it to light. But don't worry, Hollywood, you next too. Yahweh don't play. Criminal charges are coming to everybody. Watch and see you playing with the wrong one. All right, so let's stop right here. And of course, all of this is alleged, but he also posted, I told y'all this would happen, but don't worry. Criminal charges have already been filed way before the NDA wasn't seen by no judge or mediation. He said, I'm coming for you all. And then he tags Chris Giovanni, who I believe is the CEO and talent manager for CGEM Talent, based out of Los Angeles and New York City. Also in his stories, he shared a bunch of text messages between him and Chris. I guess Chris was, I believe, managing him, and he did share with him in those text messages what allegedly had happened to him. And I'm not going to read through all of them. I do believe I've shared. You do have his name. If you want to go over there and read those text messages that he posted, you can. It's just a lot to unpack and to read. But if we back up one more time, this individual, once again, is accusing one of Tyler Perry's executives by the name of Mark Swinton.
Wholesalers and real estate investors, nothing's changed. You still need high quality, motivated seller leads.
And he's accusing him of RAing him when he was intoxicated, and basically he has said Tyler Perry knew about it. He was made aware of what happened, and instead of removing Mr. Swinton from his position, he says he kept him in office, fully aware that this was a felony offense. He's also targeting Tyler to say that he is an accessory after the fact, based on a law in the state of Georgia. So who is Mark Swinton? Currently, it shows that he is a film, television, and theater writer, a producer, and director. It also says that he serves as the vice president of Tyler Perry Studios, where he produces all of the studio's major television shows, feature films, and stage plays. So, this was a lot, and it almost just seems as if the situation that occurred with Cassie and Diddy, it almost seems as if people will start to come out and start telling their stories. He did mention that he would be alongside Derek Dixon. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how all this plays out. And let me know your thoughts down in the comments about all of this. And while you're typing, just think about the fact that he did state he was pressured to sign a settlement. And he also signed an NDA and was discouraged from going to the police. So drop down in the comments. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. As always, I thank you all for watching and listening, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Now, before you head out, please give this video a thumbs up And be sure to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update from What's Happening.
Thank you so much. What's Happening? Shout out to you the lay of the land here with this allegation. Now, of course, anyone can come out after, how can I put this? Once a person comes out, everyone else can come out, right? And so I want to go back right here. And the way that they did this really could be another lawsuit, right? It is another lawsuit, but I want to break this down for y'all. It says here, in January 2022, while I was working across state lines. If you remember with the Diddy trial, right? Crossing state lines for prostitution, right? So I just want to bring that to your peripheral, right? So I wanted to just add that to the timeline. I was raped while intoxicated by Mark Swinton, a senior producer at Tyler Perry Studios. I was flown to Georgia for work. I was disoriented, under the influence, and unable to give consent, and he violated me. Then it says that's legal rape under the law. And yes, Tyler Perry knew about it. He was made aware of what happened. And instead of removing Mark Swin from his position, he kept him in office fully aware Wait a minute, I think WhatsApp is gonna move from Mark Swinton here in just a minute. Right here, kept him in office, fully aware that was a felony offense. That's what's called being accessory after the fact. In Georgia, that's a crime. So, I know what people are saying about Derek Dixon and probably this person. Where is the proof? I am sure that to make an accusation against a person of this magnitude of Tyler Perry, that he said at the BET Awards that I made more millionaires than anybody in this city on the BET Awards Monday night, and also that he owns the biggest studio in the United States, right? In addition to that, Tyler Perry has figured out a way where he can be a free Negro, in terms of he is not a slave to the rhythm of Hollywood. Hollywood has to get in line with him, right? So after all that, I was manipulated, not just by the people who protected my rapist, but even my own attorney. I'm sure that Brandon has that name of the attorney who told him not to sue, right? And also, too, it says here, he reminded me that let's see here. He reminded me that no contract, no student, no man can override his power and his justice. Now I filed a criminal complaint. There's an active investigation in Georgia. The truth is being brought into the light. So I am sure that more court documents will be coming out about this. As you all know, there has been a reckoning since the Me Too movement. And I was talking with my good friend and co-worker at my job. What's today? Thursday, right? Yeah, today's Thursday. So I talked to her yesterday on Wednesday. And she said, I don't get why people with that amount of stature, status, and, resources would utilize. not utilize, but would go through these methods to be disrespectful. And I do think that sometimes self, and there's your damn self, right? Yourself is the hello, how are you? Your damn self is like, hey, mother ucker, what's good with you? That's what we call code switching, right? And I do believe that eventually what you consume, you will become, right? And we can all admit that the allegations in that Tyler Perry, Derek Dixon lawsuit were egregious. It was outrageous, and it flabbergasted my existence, because sincerely, to be Tyler Perry, where you can basically do whatever you want in terms of content and things, wouldn't you be about that assignment? Now, of course, I'm thinking of some other productions that are there. I'm thinking of when Divorce Court was at Tyler Perry Studios. That's one. I'm thinking of, Steve Harvey, because Steve Harvey has taped Family Feud at Tyler Perry Studios, and he also taped Steve on Watch, right? But also, too, Black Panther, right? So some of the Marvel films have been taped at Tyler Perry Studios and many other productions. So what this is making me think is, are there any other people from those other productions that weren't produced by Tyler Perry Studios? Will they come out and say something too? So very, very interesting. Of course, I'll keep an eye on it for you. So yes, indeed. All right, y'all, here we go from WCCF Tech. Sony rumored to be considering Warner Bros. Discovery streaming and studios acquisition. Earlier this month, Warner Bros. Discovery announced that it would split itself into two entities by mid-2026. The first one, Warner Bros. Discovery Global Networks, will remain focused on the company's traditional cable program with sports, news, and entertainment. The second entity, Warner Bros. Discovery Streaming and Studios, will spin off with HBO, the TV series and movie production, as well as the gaming division of Warner Bros. Discovery. Now I know what you're thinking. Wait a minute. What? They got a gaming studio? Yes. So, let me show y'all this here. Now, they are focusing on 4 franchises, okay? They are focusing on Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat, and the DC universe. So apparently they used to have a lot of games at Warner Bros. Games where they're focusing on these. Now, of course, Harry Potter, as you know, is at Universal Orlando Resort, right? So it's at Universal Orlando Resort, Islands of Adventure, and now it is at Universal's Epic Universe, right? So NBC Universal, Warner Bros. Discovery, Disney, Paramount, those are the major Legacy Media studios. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. Go back here. Many analysts have identified the possible motive behind the split in a potential sale of the latter of the cable networks, just like Comcast, NBC Universal is spinning off the cable networks, right? The way more successful side of the company. Many analysts have identified the possible move behind the split and potential sale for the latter, way more successful side of the company, the studios, and the streamers. Now, just a few days after the announcement, the wrestling scoop website SES Scoops reckons Sony is already considering purchasing Warner Brothers Discovery Streaming and Studios. Let me bring this up here, because you guys may not know that this is going on. Like I said, we cover everything else of the culture, right? And of course, you don't know what you don't know, right? And this is why it's important to always pay attention, because if you understand the moves that are happening around you, you understand what you're seeing in front of you. So let me do this here. moment. Trying to see here. Okay, here it is. Here, this is the video that I'm looking for. I want to show you what is being separated here. Okay, so these are the global networks: HGTV, Major League Baseball, CNN, Food Network, TBS, National Hockey League, NCAA, the Oprah Winfrey Network. Now Sony wants to bid on this here, right? They want to bid on HBO Max, HBO, New Line Cinema, Warner Bros. Discovery, and DC Studios, right? Okay, so let's pause it there for a minute. Get back to our destination here. Needless to say, this would make perfect sense for Sony from a strategic standpoint. It would considerably bolster its movie, TV series, and gaming production and give it some access to some of the biggest intellectual properties in entertainment, such as the DC Universe, Harry Potter, and Game of Thrones. So as you can see here, Warner Bros. Discovery Global Networks, leading sports, news, and entertainment content provider. Then Warner Bros. Discovery Streaming and Studios, Warner Bros. Discovery S&S, prolific content producer with scaled and growing streaming platforms. So let me look this up in this, because I'm sure this is to a pitch deck. I'm sure of it. This is it. No, it doesn't look like it. Never mind. Okay. What is this here? Give me a moment, y'all. Trying to see if this comes up anywhere else. Because usually this is like an investor's deck here. This is a earnings call. I'm just looking, y'all. See something here. No, it's not that there. I know that is from a pitch deck, but I don't think it is. No, it is publicly available, but here's the thing, though, with pitch decks, right? Sometimes it is available to the public, but then other times you actually have to have a password to get in. So just want you guys to know that there. Okay, so looks like I'm not able to find it, unfortunately, right now, but that is from a pitch deck there. Now it's all a bit premature at this stage, since the split will have to happen first. Rather, as such, even if an acquisition deal is eventually reached, it may not be announced until 2027 or thereabouts. Regarding the legitimacy of the source, SES Scoops has a long track record when it comes to wrestling leaks, but it's still worth taking the rumor with a grain of salt. Moving to analyze the gaming side, we know Warner Bros. Discovery has suffered heavy losses in that division. Despite the massive success of Hardware's legacy, several other games failed, such as Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, Gotham Knights, and Multiverses. Multiverses is pretty much like Marvel Rivals, right? Which is basically all the Warner Bros. Discovery characters fighting each other. It's just like Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl or PlayStation All-Stars, right? It's basically like Super Smash Brothers from Nintendo. Moreover, the historic studio Monolith was recently shut down as original Wonder Woman game was canceled. Just yesterday, we learned of restructuring within Warner Brothers games around its four key intellectual properties: Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, DC, and Mortal Kombat. It's hard to say whether Sony acquisition will improve this division situation in any meaningful way. Gamers probably shouldn't be too concerned about those games becoming PlayStation exclusive, though. as they are simply too big to make sense as exclusive. Sony has already realized that when it allowed Bungie to continue making multi-game platforms following its acquisition. So, with that being said, everybody, what do I think about this story? Now, I'm going to show you something here. Now, this is the media universe map from my man Evan Shapiro. So here is Sony here for $162 billion, right? So they have their electronics. So they have headphones, phones, laptops, TVs, you name it. They have Crunchyroll, which is their anime platform. You can think of that like you can think of that as like Toonami, right? Then they have Sony Music, right? Then they have Sony Pictures and TV, right? So think Shark Tank, think any show in existence like Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. And then they have PlayStation, right? So if we go back to that video, right? Right here. And we think about what they could potentially want. HBO and HBO Max, right? Now let's go back to the media mind map for a minute, okay? So Sony does not have a streaming service. Do you see? They have Crunchyroll, right, which is their anime streaming platform, but they don't have a particular streaming service. So imagine HBO Max, right, under Sony, and combine the Warner Brothers catalog along with Sony's catalog, right? So more movies, more TV, more diversification of, fan bases all coming together, right? Now, if you put HBO Max pre-installed to every Sony device, there it is. And if you put HBO Max on every PlayStation installed and give a free 3-month trial, then there it is. And also, too, when you think about the DC studios, right? Even though Sony has had some failed games, one thing Sony does not do is they don't come with movies. And Mortal Kombat, they've had some movies here and there, but I don't think they've ever really been. I don't think Mortal Kombat rather is a full movie series. And then also too, think about this with the Looney Tunes, right? And you have Sony Pictures Animation. Let me bring up Sony Pictures Animation, right? Like I said, if you understand the moves that are happening around you, you'll understand what you're seeing in front of you here. Because I definitely see Sony, potentially making a move for this for the reasons that I'm telling you guys about right now. And as I pull this up. So here it is here. So as you guys remember, Into the Spider-Verse was a huge movie for them, right? Okay, we got it. So let's go to projects. Let's go to films. So you have Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. You got K-pop Demon Hunters. You got Fixed, which that style of animation looks like Chowder from Cartoon Network. You have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. You have Hotel Transformania. You have Vivo. You have Wish Dragon. You have Mitchell and the Machines. You have Angry Birds, the Angry Birds movie 2. You have Into the Spider-Verse. You have Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation. You have The Star. You have The Emoji. You have The Smurfs Lost Village. You have Surf's Up 2, Wave Mania. You have Open Season, Scared Silly. You have Hotel Transylvania 2. You have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. So you have the Smurfs too. You have Hotel Transylvania. You have the Pirates, Bands of Misfit. You have Arthur Christmas. You have the Smurfs. You have Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. You have Open Season 3. You have Open Season 2. You have Surf's Up. And then you have Open Season. Now, do you not know what's a part of Warner Brothers Discovery as well with the global networks? Cartoon Network. Now, follow me here. Imagine Cartoon Network. How can I put this? Imagine, if you will, Sony buys this side right here. They buy HBO Max, they buy HBO, they buy New Line Cinema, they buy Warner Brothers Discovery, they buy DC Studios, right? Imagine, if you will, that they bought Cartoon Network and brought into the Sony family, and that would be the home of, that would be the television network for Sony Pictures Animation, right? Listen, I just say the quiet part out loud. And of course, as you can see here, they got Motel Transylvania, they have Ghostbusters, they have Agent Elvis, they have Young Love. So those are their series, right? So with that, in addition to that, imagine Looney Tunes at Sony, right? Imagine Looney Tunes being able to play, because Warner Brothers really doesn't do anything with Looney Tunes. It's really a dead-on property. Now, of course, I know what you're thinking, Braylon. You're going to bring up theme parks, aren't you? Ding, 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 ding. You know me too damn well. The rights to Looney Tunes is at Six Flags. Now, like I said, right? If we truly think about this, Warner Brothers Games, right, is focusing on 4 major franchises. They're focusing on Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat, and the DC Universe. So since Warner Bros. Discovery and Harry Potter are working with NBC Universal and Universal Orlando Resort for Harry Potter, imagine, if you will, if Sony gets the rights to Looney Tunes from Six Flags and then makes a deal with Universal to take over Islands of Adventure and make Bugs Bunny's, Acme Town, where you can meet Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, where you can meet Lola Bunny, where you can meet Porky Pig, right? Where you can meet Speedy Gonzales, right? So imagine, if you will, the Looney Tunes moving from Warner Brothers, right? Discovery, and moving over to Sony. And the Looney Tunes are under, once again, Sony Pictures Animation, which will also be Cartoon Network. So do you see the connective web that I have made here? So I definitely see why Sony rather would want to make a pitch for Warner Brothers. So, like I said, now this is a prediction. I could be completely wrong in my assessment, but I do believe that's probably why they want to make it do what it do, right? So that's just my thought. But like I said, this is a rumor. Okay, so I don't get too excited, right? And also, too, let's not forget Warner Brothers World in Abu Dhabi. And Sony doesn't have any theme parks, right? So imagine, if you will, that the games, I think the games and, what is it? Games Global Experiences. Hang on, let me see something. Warner Brothers Games Experiences division. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that this new division right here for covering experiences, theme parks, studio tours, exhibition, retail destinations, and more, I believe, now I could be wrong, but I believe that will be with the streaming and studios, right? So Imagine if Sony got their hands on that too. And I forgot to show y'all this receipt. Last night during our could Nintendo acquire TikTok conversation, because I just want to show you how real the creator economy is, right? So let me do this. Content creators. Okay, so this is a real job. So you remember we talked about how Tubi is bringing over YouTube content to Tubi, which has just hit 100 million monthly active users. Now, this job was posted 4 days ago. As you can see here from Warner Bros. Discovery, director, content creators, and influencers, right? So your new role, director, content creators, and influencers for HBO Max. Content creators and influencers are among the most powerful and efficient marketing drivers today, especially when it comes to generating awareness and demand. They are storytellers, tastemakers, and often full-fledged media brands in their own right. We are seeking a director of content creators and influencers to elevate and scale our approach to working with creators. This role will lead the development in a best-in-class influencer and creator strategy, one that will drive meaningful awareness and demand for HBO Max, our films, our original series. So could you imagine Brainley's virtual tour on HBO Max? Or better yet, come here. Imagine Brainley's virtual tour on HBO and streaming on HBO Max at the same time. Broadcasting on linear, streaming on digital. Okay. Listen, I just say the quiet part out loud, ladies and gentlemen. While we already engage with top creators worldwide, we see a significant opportunity to take this work to the next level. This role will shape a unique, differentiated creator program that sets the gold standard in entertainment and makes HBO Max the most coveted brand for partners to partner with. I want to bring up something else. And don't worry, we do have more show, but I have to get this out of my head. Because there was something that they did a while back, right, with Rooster Teeth. Now, Rooster Teeth is back under Bernie Burns, and they are in the process of trying to get Rooster Teeth back. They have the beta. They have the beta of the website. But I wanted to bring this up because I did talk about this. Rooster Teeth and Warner Bros. Discovery Access announced second annual Rooster Teeth Digital Creators Program. Okay, now Warner Bros. Discovery Access is a platform for Black and minority indigenous people, BIPOC people, to be able to get into Hollywood. Okay, so like I said, if you understand the moves that are happening around you, you'll understand what you're seeing in front of you. Like I said, let's go back to that job description here. Now what's the job? Now what's the job? Now what is the job here? Okay, what's the job? Director, content creators, and influencers, HBO Max. That's the job. Let's get into the article here. Rooster Teeth and Warner Bros. Discovery Access has announced the finalists for their Rooster Teeth Digital Creators Program. Now in its second year. Out of more than 400 applicants, 8 aspiring and emerging digital talent content creators were selected to widen diverse, equitable, and inclusive representation. The Rooster Teeth Digital Creators Program was established to provide underrepresented digital talent a platform to break through to new audiences while also providing them with the tools and opportunities to succeed as content creators. The paid mentorship and training from Rooster Teeth and Warner Bros. Discovery will occur over 3 months virtually, including a 1-month in-person residency in Austin. Chosen creators may also be eligible for a 1-year Rooster Teeth talent contract. So, I'm not saying that a HBO Max content creator program is coming, but if you are hiring a director for content creators and influencers for HBO Max, that could be coming. Do you see how I'm bringing the links together here, y'all? let's roll on with this description here. Your role and responsibilities: build and maintain strategic relationships with content creators and influencers across all tiers, ensuring authentic brand alignment and long-term partnerships. Collaborate, that's number one, rather, the first thing I said. Collaborate, number two. Collaborate cross-functionally with internal teams such as social, public relations, brand content, talent, legal, to streamline influencer engagement and align on campaign objectives. Number three, negotiate, structure partnerships, manage campaign execution, performance tracking. Number four, drive innovation by scouting new opportunities in the creator ecosystem, including emerging platforms, creative tech, and beta partnerships with creators and tool providers. So that was number four. Number five, conceptualize and pitch creative campaigns that respect the creator's voice while aligning with brand strategy, focusing on co-creation and authentic storytelling over traditional sponsored content. So that was number five. Number six, stay culturally in tune with Gen Z millennial audiences, maintaining a deep understanding of creative culture and trends to ensure content relevance and resonance. Number seven, establish operational systems for managing influencer campaigns efficiently, from onboarding to measurement, ensuring smooth execution and return on investment analysis. Qualifications and experience: 8 to 10 years of experience in the creator and influencer marketing industry with proven track record of success. Minimum of 5 years of managing a team. Established network of relationships with top tier emerging content creators, influencers, and industry partners. Deep understanding of creator ecosystem trends, audience behavior, and the evolving digital content landscape. Demonstrated experience in building and scaling influencer programs for major cultural brands, ideally within entertainment or streaming. Strong leadership background with experience managing and mentoring teams of influencer marketing professionals. Ability to collaborate cross-functionally and report to executive leadership, including direct reporting to a vice president level stakeholder. Strategic thinker with hands-on experience designing innovative and measurable influencer campaigns along with brand goals. Right? So the pay range here is $133,000 a year to $247,000 a year. Now, if you remember, right, we talked about VidCon, how it was originally under Paramount, right? And Paramount fumbled the bag because they should have done live primetime coverage on CBS and also stream it live on Paramount Plus. But the dumbasses that Paramount is, because they are in $14.9 billion worth of debt, and they had to get bought out by Skydance, and eventually will have to sell other networks and maybe potentially the Paramount Pictures studio lot. Potentially. This is called Warner Bros. Discovery Con. Imagine if they had Discovery Con, right? Where you can meet anyone and everyone from, right? Hang on. Follow me here. Imagine Discovery Con where you could meet stars from your favorite HBO series on HBO Max. Imagine meeting stars from New Line Cinema's movies, Warner Brothers TV shows and movies. And imagine meeting some of the people from the DC world. And even though these are two separate companies, both of these companies are still under Warner Bros. Discovery. So imagine meeting your favorite people from Food Network. Imagine CNN live broadcast. Imagine HGTV being there. Imagine if the Oprah Winfrey Network stars were there, right? So imagine Discovery Con from Warner Bros. Discovery. And that will relate to this job right here of director, content creators, and influencers. Like I said, everything's alleged in my opinion for entertainment purposes only, but I truly believe that is to come. Speaking of things to come, you see how we transition there from Yahoo Entertainment, from Entertainment Weekly. Damson Idris hints he talked with Marvel about taking over Black Panther role following Chadwick Boseman's passing. The Formula One actor also hinted that he may have already had talks with Marvel about the role, right? Damson Idris is adding further fuel to those rumors that he may be taking over the role for T'Challa, famously played on screen by the late Chadwick Boseman in Black Panther 3. While visiting today on Wednesday, the 33-year-old Formula One movie actor was asked to participate in a game where he answered a series of yes or no questions about what he's got coming up next in his career. There could be some There's some speculation out there in the universe that you could be cast in the next Black Panther. Co-anchor Craig Melvin said, "Have you had any conversations about that? Yes or no?" Idris lets out a groan in response. Yes, no. He shouted, trying to best cheekily sidestep the question. That shot is so iconic of Chadwick. Melvin wasn't letting him off the hook that easily. By the way, the yes no means yes. He teased to which Idris replied, it could mean no, but it probably means yes. Melvin said he added, right? If they ask, would you say yes? Idris didn't hesitate with his response. Yes. So, come here. Me, a nerd of social media, about to give you some game right now. I love how the producers, right, and Craig Melvin, because let me tell you something. Producers are one thing. Having the conduit execute the producer's idea is another. Shout out to Craig Melvin for this. They ask questions through a game to have containers of, guess what? We don't know if you're telling the truth or not, right? Because obviously you're not going to tell us everything. But at least we can gain some glimpses from your answers, right? So that was the platform for, the conversation. But in the same token, too, today might have gotten some tea with, if they ask, would you say yes? Yes. So that would indicate to Marvel, oh, he's interested. Little does the Today Show know, little do I know, little do you know, little do we know that they probably have already been having talks, but they can't say anything yet. Very well done, Today Show. Very, very well done. Rumors about Marvel potentially recasting T'Challa first began to swirl back in January when a Insider report asserted that they were considering the idea, despite the studio previously saying that they would not recast the role following Boseman's death. Now, of course, Chadwick Boseman's family is like, as much as we love Chadwick Boseman, as much as y'all love him, we appreciate the overwhelming love. We want this character to live on because, as you can see, the climate we're in, we need Black Panther to let everybody know we blackity black, and we ain't going no damn where, okay? That same month, Idris landed himself in the right smack dab middle of the online discourse when he replied to a Twitter post claiming that he reportedly turned down the role of Black Panther. In his since deleted post, which was shared by comicbookmovie.com, Idris sarcastically responded, "Yes, sir, I turned down 007, a co-lead film with Daniel Day-Lewis and an Eddie Murphy biopic too." Whoa, those are some big things there. Those are some big, projects rather. Child. Oh my God. Anyway, Black Panther 3 producer Nate Moore shot down the casting rumors when speaking to Entertainment Weekly in February. "I know there's been a lot of chatter online about casting and villains. None of that's true," he said. "We just haven't gotten there yet. To be honest, I'm very excited to start those conversations, hopefully this year." At the time, Moore added that he couldn't confirm or deny whether or not they were open to recasting the role of T'Challa until they had solidified the film's storyline. So, just wanted to bring that to your attention. All right, there. So, more Brand News Virtual Tour Live coming up right from this space right here and right now, ladies and gentlemen. This comes to us from oh my God, okay. Listen, okay, so just a side note. Let's celebrate me for just 1 second, okay? I'm gonna get to that news, right? So this is Candace Glover. Season 9 winner of American Idol, right? She one of the most amazing idols in the world. She had to audition 3 times before finally getting that win of being an American Idol, right? So just beautifully stunning. And so I said that this ninth picture, right? Or this ninth slide, which is right here. This right here. I said, listen, that ninth slide, Miss Candace Lee, you are one of my all-time favorite idols. And y'all, look at this, okay? Candace Glover liked my comment, okay? And Jamila Mufasa, thank you so much, gorgeous. And then right there, thank you so much. So, listen, Candace Lee, Braylon Lee, I'm just saying, I've always had a crush on her because her resilience for auditioning 3 times before getting it. And also, too, Justin Guarini said something very powerful on the Kelly Clarkson show when they had the American Idol reunion with Randy, Simon, and Paula. That even though you may not hear about every American Idol contestant, doesn't mean that they're not doing things behind the scenes. And Candace is fully independent, but she does not let, her status of, the fact that she won a competition determine how she moves. So thank you, Candace. Okay, now we'll get back to our destination here. Okay. All right, everybody. From its on-site, new COVID. I know, how do we go from the new Mrs. Lee, Candace Lee, to this? This is what we do. We have range over here. The variety and the purposeful diversity is what we do over here, better than anybody else on YouTube or social media, if I do say so myself. We definitely are not a one-trick pony just circling around the petting zoo at the state fair and can't be a black stallion that has free range, free roam, and the freedom to be all that we deserve to be. So with that being said, let's get to it. From its on-site, new COVID variant Nimbus causing intense razor blade throat symptom now spreading in the United States. Reports say. This is from its on-site. A newly emerging COVID-19 subvariant named Nimbus NB 1.8.1 is making headlines for not increased hospitalizations, but for a distinctively painful symptom that patients are describing as razor blade throat. Health experts say the sore throat caused by this variant feels sharper, more stabbing, and longer lasting than previous COVID strains, with some likening it to swallowing glass or razor blades. Oh, my Lord Jesus, that is not good at all. So what they know so far, Nimbus is a subvariant of Omicron, has been labeled a variant monitoring by the World Health Organization. It is currently responsible for 10 to 37% of COVID cases in regions like the United Kingdom, India, and parts of the U.S., including California. Although the sore throat is more severe, there's no evidence that this variant causes more serious illness or hospitalization than previous strains. Doctors say it's still responsive to COVID treatments, and vaccines remain effective at reducing severe outcomes. While the razor blade symptom is grabbing headlines, other common signs like congestion, fatigue, body aches, and cough are still present. But the sore throat has become a early warning flag. This variant may sound scary, but it's a reminder that COVID isn't gone. It's just evolving. Stay informed, stay cautious, take care of your health. Now, if you remember, we did talk about another variant, right? So let me see here, because I do believe, let me see. I remember we did talk about another variant, if I'm not mistaken. I think new. Let me see. And so here it is here, just to show y'all. This is not to scare y'all, but just to alert y'all right here. ABC News has covered, The Independent, USA Today, Associated Press, WKRC. So just to show y'all that there. I know that we talked about this. Gotta go back through my live here, my live tab. Yeah, I really am trying to find, because I know we recently talked about this, like literally not that long ago. We literally talked about this. Let's see here. See this is what happens when you actually do content. You have so much content, child. But I do remember that we did talk about we did talk about that. Okay. Let's see. Because I believe that it was, let me see, I think it might have been its own site. Let me see something. But this was like a while back though. Was this it? I think it was. Okay, maybe we did do this. Yes. Okay, I think we did this a while back. So I think this was the same thing, because it was like international travel, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I think we did do that. Yeah, from China. Yes. Okay, so I think this was the same thing. I said, don't worry about it. This is not to alarm you, but this is just to let you know what was going on. I do believe that we talked about that. Let me see something. It's like, it's really getting on. You know how you remember you did something? And you know that you know, and it's in your brain, but it's not really computing. God, oh Jesus. I gotta go all the way back up to the beginning of the month because I do remember sending it to myself on Messenger. The thing that ends up happening is when you're a content creator, you will send so many things to yourself because it's like, okay, either you'll look at it and see like, okay, that could be something, but then again, it's like, yeah. But I do remember this in particular. At the top here of my Messenger. I know I sent it to myself. June 7th. Damn it. No, it's gee. For what? Okay. Thank God I didn't lose my place. I know I sent it to myself. And I know as soon as I see it, I'm going to be so pissed at myself. As soon as I see it. Anyway, if I can find it a little bit later, y'all, I will. I don't want the time to slip away from us here, but yeah, I'm just like, it's really pissing me the fuck off. Okay. This is odd. Sorry, I'm looking so up close right now because, like, literally, we just. Oh, hear it. 3 weeks ago. Good. You know what? Sometimes we just gotta be still. Sometimes we just gotta be still. You gotta be still. That is hilarious, child. And this is why I label every show. But also, too, as you know, sometimes you can't really put COVID in the title, so I try to do health. But here it is here, y'all. So this show was 3 weeks ago. So this is when we talked about Black architects, health, GameStop, Ford, Southwest Airlines, Kelly Clarkson, Ships, and Bryan Cranston. So here it is from rollingout.com right here. What new COVID variant means for U.S. health officials. Strain linked to surging infections in China and Asia detected among international travelers. So NB1.81. So we talked about this 3 weeks ago, but now the update is that it is a, let's go back to it here. It is a razor blade throat pain. That is a symptom. So just to let you guys know that. Thank God we found it. Okay. I'm just like, now don't play with me. All right. So speaking of don't play with me, here's something that you may not know about, but we did talk about here. As you all know, there's a lawsuit in Rockford County, New York, about the fact of it is questioning, did 47 really win the 2024 election? But it's not just questioning that, it's also questioning the Senate results. So this is from Jessica Denson here. Here we go.
Lights on with Jessica Denson. As millions and millions of people flood the streets of this country, peacefully protesting the illegal administration of Donald Trump and his attempted authoritarian takedown of American democracy, a mere spattering shows up for his birthday military parade, just underscoring the amount of support that really exists in opposition to him and the lack of support for Trump and his administration. It kind of makes us go back to questions about the 2024 election that very few of us had the courage to dig deeper into. Donald Trump sweeping 7 swing states on election night. So many admissions from Elon Musk and Trump himself that he didn't need votes. Strange, seemingly unexplainable statistical patterns of drop-off rates where Donald Trump got many, many more votes than the down ballot candidates, or Kamala Harris way underperforming the down ballot candidates in the cases where she was not selected in states and districts and precincts. There have been a lot of recent revelations in this space, including an election smart legislation election lawsuit that is moving forward in Rockland County, where some of these very strange anomalies have occurred. It is hopefully this case proceeding towards discovery. Their ultimate ask is that there is a hand recount in Rockland County, where very strange anomalies occurred, including in some districts, Kamala Harris receiving 0 votes. There have been other recent reports about voting machines not having adequate testing. That has been a topic that we have covered in detail on this show with election security experts. One of them is going to join me today to go over some of these recent developments, including a recent article she wrote in Slate about Donald Trump's call for Tina Peters, the Colorado woman who was criminally convicted of trying to tamper with voting machines, calling for her to be released. So it's my great pleasure to welcome back to Lights On Susan Greenhalgh, the election security expert from Free Speech for People. Susan, welcome back to Lights On.
Thanks for having me.
Can I confess something, Lama?
I'm all ears.
Since you recommended Monday.com say iBlocks, work got so much easier.
I know.
My pleasure. So I was reading back through your article for Slate, and you talk about Donald Trump calling for Tina Peters to be released. He, of course, pardoned over 1,500 some very violent, including people who committed seditious conspiracy, insurrectionists from January 6th. Here he is calling for someone else who was involved in the efforts that you are intimately familiar with in trying to compromise voting machines. Can you just bring us up to speed, refresh our memories on what happened in the case of Tina Peters?
Sure. Tina Peters was the county clerk for Mesa County, Colorado, which is a county in western Colorado. She, after the 2020 election, she was one of the people who was trying to prove fraud on behalf of Donald Trump. And she, a jury found her guilty of breaking several laws to allow people associated with a bigger network of election deniers working on behalf of Donald Trump to overturn the election, to access the equipment, to make copies of the voting system software taken from Mesa County, And then later it ended up on a website where anyone could access it and download it. And also it was highlighted at the cyber symposium hosted by the MyPillow guy, Mike Lindell, in August of 2021.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell from MyPillow.
Her involvement in accessing the software happened around the spring of 2021. She subsequently was charged for her involvement in allowing this unlawful access to the voting equipment. She wasn't actually charged with taking the software, but she was charged with like identity theft to allow the guy that went in to take the software, found guilty and charged with and sentenced to 9 years in prison. And this is in state court in Colorado, so Donald Trump cannot pardon her, but he has called for her to be released. And he has also, or subsequently the Justice Department, the U.S. Justice Department has sought an unprecedented amount of election records from Colorado. And the Secretary of State has suggested that getting these records was part of is part of the Justice Department and the Trump administration's effort to try to get Tina Peters free.
It's very alarming, Susan. And what you underscore in this piece that you wrote in Slate is how this was a multi-state effort. It was not just Georgia. It was not just Colorado. There were attempted breaches in Michigan, in Pennsylvania. These were all financed by Sidney Powell. And the records that you have poured into in court documents indicate that many of the same people that were involved in all of these plots, and that copies of the software were shared across state lines, suggesting, as you write, a broad, coordinated, multi-state effort that could implicate federal crimes. And then you go on to explain how this could have compromised the 2024 election. Can you just talk a little bit about that? I mean, it's really unthinkable, Susan, that we are at this point and we have not investigated or mitigated that potential harm, and we are past the consequences of what it possibly caused in this country.
I think that's a very good way to put it. This is the largest election security breach that we know occurred in the United States. It has been profoundly and woefully underreported in the press, even though it has gotten some coverage, but not anywhere near what it deserves. As you mentioned, there were breaches in Georgia, in Michigan, in Pennsylvania, in Colorado, and software that was provided under subpoena legally in Arizona was unlawfully shared beyond what it was supposed to be, so that many of the same people got it. We have evidence, direct evidence, that shows that Sidney Powell paid for the breaches in Michigan, Georgia, and Pennsylvania as part of her work to overturn the 2020 election. And then we can also then start to draw those yarn diagram types of connections between the people that received the copies of the software, the people that were involved in other breaches, like the one in Colorado, the people that were involved in that got the copies of the software in Arizona, that they're all interconnected. So this was a coordinated scheme between these different breaches. And the scary thing is that they got the software. We don't know what's happened to it, because there never was any federal investigation, unfortunately, under the Garland Justice Department. We can't expect one now for sure. So we don't know what they've done with the software. And having the software could enable bad actors to develop ways to attack the system. And you don't have to listen to me when I tell you that, but I will say that when Dominion thought that their software was going to be released in Arizona under subpoena, they fought it.
And Smart Mag sued Fox News and Newsmax for talking about the election results were, in the voting machines were this, that, the third.
Very vigorously. And they said that it would do irreparable damage to the national security interests of the country if their software was given to partisan actors, which it ended up in the exact same hands that they were fighting. The Attorney General in Georgia did not want to hand the software over to Sidney Powell before she went in and took it. And in court, he argued that if we gave her the software, it would be giving her the keys to the software kingdom of the voting equipment. So you don't have to take my word for it. You don't have to talk to the computer scientists that I've talked to, like Professor Rich DeMillo of Georgia Tech, who also wrote a different op-ed with me for Slate. He was a co-author on that. But people can use the software to develop ways to attack the system, and then to exploit those vulnerabilities that they've uncovered with minimal access, without having to have a lot of time and access to the machines.
So I'm going to pause it there because we do have more show for you. But basically what ended up happening with Rockford County was there is supposed to be a margin of error, right? That's supposed to fall in line. So with, Kamala Harris and the Democrat candidates, they allegedly were underreported with the votes. And there was a surge of votes for Republicans at 47. And there's supposed to be a margin of error within those lines for each party. And so one of the people from Rockford County saw an irregularity, went to their local official, they took it to another person, and then this lawsuit came about where now the lawsuit is proceeding to see if it is true. If it is true, then, ladies and gentlemen, it's not just the dumb fucks that voted for this dumb fuck that fucked up, but it was the people in power that allowed the hell that we're in. They're also fucked up. So, a lot going on there. Just wanted to bring that. By the way, that video that you're seeing here, at least a little bit of that video, rather, is in my description box below. If you want to watch the whole thing, I suggest you do. All right, y'all. More Brainley's Virtual Tour Live coming up right from the space right here and right now. From the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, or British Broadcasting Channel, Chris Brown denies, I repeat, he denies London nightclub assault. So this is Chris Brown arriving in court there. As y'all know, he is on the Breezy Bowl tour overseas, and eventually he'll be over here in the United States. United States singer Chris Brown has pled not guilty to an assault charge after an alleged violent attack at a London nightclub 2 years ago. The 36-year-old is accused of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm, or GBH, to music producer Abraham Dawah during an incident that prosecutors have described as unprovoked. Brown also faces charges of assault occasioning actual bodily harm and having an offensive weapon, namely a tequila bomb. Both relate to the same incident and were. There we go. Okay. Both relate to the same incident and were added to his indictment ahead of Friday's hearing. The judge adjourned arrangement on those two counts, meaning Brown will not have to enter a plea until July 11th. So, let's see. So that's counting today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So in 22 days, there will be an arrangement in 22 days, he will have to enter a plea on that date. He will face trial for the grievous bodily harm on October 26th, 2026. So I am sure that the court paperwork, is out or will be coming out soon. So right here, this is Chris Brown right here. And then this is Olu Bolu. Both pled not guilty to previous bodily harm. Why does this look like Shabuzi right here to me? I could be wrong. The U.S. singer appeared at South Warwick Crown Court, denied the charge of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm hours after playing to thousands of fans at Cardiff's Principality, saying wearing a blue child, thinking of 47. That should be the person in the orange jumpsuit, but that's neither here nor there. Wearing wearing a ocean blue suit and black rimmed glasses, the musician was silent as he walked past a large group of photographers when he arrived at the court on Friday morning. 5 or 6 fans were outside the court to offer their support. More crowded into the courtroom to watch the proceedings. After taking the dock, Brown smiled and went to a woman in the courtroom while waiting for his honor, Judge Baumgartner, to arrive. He confirmed his name and day of birth, May 5th, 1989, before the judge asked for his plea on the charge of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm. I'm not guilty, ma'am, Brown replied. Brown's co-defendant, Akulo, a 39-year-old African-American performer who performs under the name Hootie Baby. Child, it's the stage names for me these days. Also entered a not guilty plea to the charge of attempted grievous bodily harm. So there is Chris there, all the photographers right there. And then here is Omolu Akinu right there. I've never heard of him until today, so please forgive me. Brown was arrested at the 5-star Lowry Hotel in Salford, Great Manchester last month after arriving in the United Kingdom to prepare for a string of European tour dates. He was held in custody for almost a week before being released after agreeing to pay a euro 5 million security fee to the court. The security fees financial guarantee to ensure that defendant returns to court. Mr. Brown could be asked to forfeit the money if he breaches bail conditions. Under those conditions, Mr. Brown must live at address in the United Kingdom while awaiting trial. Was ordered to surrender his passport to police. However, a plan was put in place allowing him to honor his Breezy Bowl XX World Tour dates by surrendering his passport, but get it back when he needs to travel to the gigs. The first day took place in Amsterdam on June 8th, and the United Kingdom leg kicked off last weekend. On the first night in Manchester on Sunday, he thanked fans for coming and supporting me, and thank you to the jail, he joked, referring to his spell in custody. It was really nice. Mr. Brown is one of the biggest stars in the United States R&B with 2 Grammy Awards, 19 top 10 singles in the United Kingdom, including hits like Turn Up the Music, Freaky Friday, With You, and Don't Wake Me Up. Last week, he won the best prize for Best Male R&B Pop Artist at the BET Awards in Los Angeles. His former partner of pop star Rihanna, his latest tour celebrates the 20th anniversary of his self-titled debut album. Outlined the case against him last month, prosecutors said the alleged victim, Abram Dahl, was standing at the bar of Soho's Tape nightclub on February 19, 2023. Mr. Brown launched an unprovoked attack in which the complainant was struck several times with a bottle. She said the defendant then pursued him to a separate area of the nightclub, where the victim was punched and kicked repeatedly by him and another. Brown will follow his court appearance with 2 dates at London's Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this weekend. His next hearing will take place. Once the European leg of his tour wraps up. So, what do I think about this destination? Chris Brown has had a history, but also here's the thing. Chris Brown, I think people are not going to ever forgive him for what he did to Rihanna, even though Rihanna and him are good. Rihanna did hug him at an event, and that let everybody know that it was all good because Rihanna also hit Chris Brown. That's not excusing Chris Brown's behavior, but in the same fashion, token, other side of the coin, people are not going to forgive him for that. But he has tried to move on in so many aspects, right? So this is going to be a very interesting case. And like I said, when the trial happens, we will be covering Chris Brown as well. All right, y'all, more Brain Lee's Virtual Tour Live coming up right from the space right here right now. Some good news for you about Juneteenth, everybody, from blacknews.com. 47 does not have the power to end Juneteenth, not on his own. Even as President 47 pushes forward with efforts to dismantle diversity, equity, inclusion programs, legal experts emphasize he does not have the authority to eliminate Juneteenth as a federal holiday on his own. According to USA Today, officially recognized in 2021 under President Joe Biden, Juneteenth remains a federally protected holiday unless Congress takes specific legislative action to repeal it. The concern stems from 47's broader political agenda, which includes promoting a more traditional interpretation of American history and reducing government support for DEI initiatives. Despite this, Jeremy Paul, constitutional law professor at Northeastern University, states clearly the president cannot president alone cannot cancel a federal holiday. Only Congress can do that by passing a bill, which will still need the president's signature to become law. Juneteenth, and celebrated on June 19th, commemorates the day in 1865 when Union Army Major General Gordon Granger informed enslaved people in Galveston, Texas of their freedom. More than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, it has since become a day of remembrance, reflection, and celebration for African Americans and their allies. While President 47 has not directly said he wants to eliminate Juneteenth, his actions, such as renaming Veterans Day to Victory Day for World War I, oh my Lord, I'm calling for a renewed emphasis on Columbus Day has stirred fears that cultural rollbacks could target holidays rooted in civil rights history. The White House has not commented on these concerns. Juneteenth is one of 11 federal holidays, which means all federal agencies, including the United States Postal Service, shut down for the day. However, states are not required to observe it. As of June 2025, at least 30 states and Washington, D.C. recognize Juneteenth as a public state holiday. States such as Florida, Indiana, and Mississippi still do not. In short, even under a 47 administration, Juneteenth remains secure unless Congress chooses to add, unless such a bill is signed and passed. The holiday symbolizes Black liberation and American justice will continue to be celebrated nationwide. So there's some good news on that. All right, finally, everybody. Speaking of being free as a people to do what we want to do, when we want to do it, how we want to do it. Could that be for content as well? That's right. Hulu will roll out internationally on Disney Plus. Just listen to this and then we'll come back.
Hi, Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. A quick news update for you guys on the future of Disney Plus and Hulu. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So earlier this week, it was revealed that Disney has finalized its deal with Comcast to take full control of Hulu. And that's going to be taking place in July. Disney have to pay an additional $400+ million to Comcast to finally wipe it out and they get full control. Now, we're going to start seeing some changes to Disney Plus and Hulu because of this deal. Recently, Bob Iger, who is the CEO of Disney, took part in an interview on CNBC, and he talked about a number of different topics, most of which included kind of combining Disney Plus and Hulu. He spent quite a bit of time talking about how they're going to be bringing them together into one app, utilizing more of Hulu inside of Disney Plus, and really kind of wanting to consolidate and also try and save money. So this thing is happening. We have been seeing over the last 18 months, Disney kind of getting Disney Plus subscribers used to the concept of Hulu. And also Hulu have been getting used to seeing Disney Plus content as well. So it looks like it's all going to start kicking off. Again, with a merger, I've been saying this for years, this is what they need to do in order to compete with Netflix and Amazon, is get these apps together, a single experience. And we've just seen the blurring of the lines between the two platforms has just got sort of more and more mixed up over the last year. So this final combination, people are likely going to be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So that was one key aspect that he was asked about. He was asked how this is going to impact customers, and the kind of consolidation thing was something that he brought up. It was also interesting. He mentioned that Hulu is then going to be turned into an international brand within Disney Plus. This is something I've been talking about for many years, where I was expecting the Star Hub to be rebranded to Hulu, and I think that's going to be happening very soon. This is for a couple of reasons. First off, it allows for better kind of interconnectivity with the Hulu brand around the world. If they do something in the US, they don't need to keep changing the posters and the trailers. People know what it's going to be. Also, we had the whole situation with Reliance and Star India, where they sold that company and kind of created a new spin-off company. And so therefore the Star brand went with them. And the Star brand was always pretty bad. I never really liked the idea of it. It was very generic. And so, yes, I suspect we're going to see the Hulu brand start to become the Star Hub. And very, very soon, we've already seen in Canada that they've been starting to use that Hulu branding on some of the originals. So I suspect that will happen. Whether or not that happens at the same time they do the merger in the US and just do a big rollout and kind of go, Hulu is now on Disney Plus kind of thing, because they're going to need to do some kind of international marketing to let international audiences know, but also they're not maybe going to want to confuse the sort of the US audience with what's going on. But I fully expect we're going to be seeing it pretty soon. These are words directly from Bob Iger, that they're going to be doing a consolidation, one app experience. That is what's going to be happening. And again, more integration within the apps. During that same interview, Bob Iger also revealed that Disney Plus is going to be following what they've done with Netflix, where they're no longer going to be reporting the quarterly results of how many subscribers they've got. They're going to be doing that Don't know when that's going to be happening. Usually when they talk about this on these kind of CNBC interviews, it's kind of getting shareholders aware of what's going on. Netflix stopped earlier this year. They're more focused now on profitability. Disney Plus is profitable. I think, again, when they merge them all together, that will help with all of that kind of aspects. But yeah, so we're not going to be getting those regular quarterly updates of how many subscribers Disney Plus has, but I suspect we'll still get those big milestones. If they hit 150 million, 200 million, they're still going to want to kind of toot their horn when something goes good. But it'll be a little bit disappointing not having that news, but also it does mean they're not going to get those little updates when they sort of say, when the results are a little bit bad, they've lost 1 million, they've gone up 1 million, they're going to get rid of all that kind of bad negative PR, which obviously a bit of spin. It does help them control the narrative, but that is definitely something to be looking forward to. Also in that same interview, Iger did also talk about the fact that they're not looking to sell off or spin off their linear channels. They're kind of looking now that all of their content is kind of together, like linear and streaming are essentially one business, and they work together. Content is on both, and they feel like they're doing something a little bit different to like Comcast and Warner Brothers, where they're kind of utilizing this as one big business rather than trying to spin it off, which I think most of that is down to them trying to basically try and get out of debt, etc. But Disney's in a very different position. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Do you think this is a good move, a bad move? What do you think of all of these big changes? Love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments below. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Laters.
Now, very good job to Roger. I think his take is, in the words of Stephen A. Smith, ass a 9, ass a 10, ass 11, ass a 12, and ass a 13, dumbass. Like I said, I think it was a dumbass statement Roger made. Not saying Roger's dumb, but he did make a dumbass statement. I'm going to tell you why. In case you guys did not know, Touchstone Pictures was an American film distribution label of Walt Disney Studios, founded and owned by the Walt Disney Company. Feature films released under the Touchstone label were produced and financed by Walt Disney Studios and featured more mature films, target adult audiences than typical Walt Disney films, right? So I did want to, bring this up because it says here, in late 1982, Disney Vice President of Production at the time, Tom Whiffle, announced that they would produce and release more mature films under a new brand. What they elaborate to the New York Times, we won't get into horror or exploitive sex, but use a non-Disney name that will allow us wider latitude, the maturity of the subject matter, and the edge we can add to humor, right? So here's the reason why this is such a dumbass decision to bring Hulu into Disney Plus, right? For one, you have 50 million subscribers in the United States that have Hulu. That's basically a cable network, right? And like I said before, you need to change A&E Global Media to Hulu Global Media and change A&E to the Hulu network, because A&E, pull up A&E for a minute. How many subscribers have A&E? So A&E is available in approximately 63 million households. So if you changed A&E, the network, to Hulu Network will now have 63 million paid TV households. So you combine, watch this now, you combine 63 million subscribers on linear plus 50 million from digital, and you have 113 million subscribers combined, right? Now that's a huge audience for Hulu. And also too, A&E also has international networks. So let me see here. Let me pull this up. A&E International. International networks, because I do believe that they have A&E overseas as well. You not have A&E International Translation. Okay, here it is. Here, this is what I was looking for, right here. So they have A&E Turkey, A&E UK, A&E Germany, A&E Latin America, A&E Asia, Foxtel, Koros, Canada License, AMC Southern Europe. So imagine if you turned A&E to Hulu. Now you have Hulu UK, you have Hulu Germany, now you have Hulu Latin America, now you have Hulu Asia. It's that simple. A&E is not trending like it used to. Okay? It's not giving what it needs to give, as the young people say. This was originally the Arts and Entertainment Network. That was the name of it. Is an American cable and satellite television network and the flagship property of A&E Networks, a joint venture between Hearst Communications and the Walt Disney Company. They own it 50-50. Is the Walt Disney Company through the Disney General Entertainment Content Division of Disney Entertainment. A&E was launched on February 1st, 1984 as a block on Nickelodeon. Yes, that Nickelodeon. Yes, the kids network. The network originally focused on fine arts, documentaries, dramas, and educational entertainment, like the Learning Channel. Today, it deals primarily in nonfiction, emphasizing reality television, true crime documentaries, and miniseries. Thus, the emphasis the process of if you switch it over to Hulu. Now you can bring in Hulu's library onto the Hulu network. Do you see where I'm going here? So that's why I say that what Roger said was a asinine, ass 10, ass 11, ass 12, ass 13 dumbass of a statement. I think Bob Iger is being fucking stupid for trying to combine all that, because Disney Plus, let's go back for a minute. Let's go back to what Disney Plus has here. Okay, let's go back. Like I said, I want Disney to win. I really do. So here it is here. So you got Disney, you got Pixar, you got Marvel, you got Star Wars, you got National Geographic.
Essentially one business.
And now you have Hulu, right? So Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, right?
And streaming are
Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, National Geographic. Those are all brands. So Pixar is their animation kid movie side. Marvel is their superheroes side. Star Wars is their sci-fi side. National Geographic is like the Discovery Network, right? For nature and everything in between, right? And then Hulu is their adult side. See, Netflix is able to get away with this because Netflix built themselves as that. Disney is known for Mickey, Minnie, Donald, Daisy, Goofy, Pluto, the Fab Five, and all the Disney animation, right? So y'all are not known for adult content. That's why you had to get this platform right here, Touchstone Pictures. So that's just my take. I think it's a dumbass decision. Not to mention, too, you have Hulu plus live TV folding into Fubo because of Venue Sports. Remember, Venue Sports was going to be Disney, it was going to be Warner Bros. Discovery, it was going to be Fox. But Fubo said that y'all are encroaching our territory and sued all three companies and blocked it. Okay, so now you got Fubo a part of the Disney family as well. So with all that being said, it's time for your positive news stories of the day here. Now it looks like there could be some trouble in paradise, child. Let's watch.
Yo. Hey, chat, y'all want to see some foodie shit? You look like that. Why?
Okay.
What I do? This some fruity shit right here. You left me. No. This
I went to the restroom. By the time I came back, you were not where I fucking left you. I told you to stay right there. You didn't stay right there.
Hey, chat, what am I looking for her?
He's a liar.
No. Wait.
Oh no. Oh my Lord. Is there trouble in love? Is there trouble in paradise, rather? You know, I was trying to do Gangsta's Paradise. Dun, 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 dun. Is there trouble in paradise? There it is. Speaking of trouble in paradise, in case you guys do not know, tonight at 8/7 Central is the Never Ever Mets reunion. So here is a sneak peek from last week's episode of what's to come for the reunion.
On the Never Ever Mets reunion, we'll find out if the couples who lasted are still going strong and if the others are looking for closure. There was a lot of secrets in this house.
Clay, is that sweat on your brow?
Wow.
That's the gaslighting part. That is gaslighting.
Mind your business.
He slapped me in the ass so hard, my teeth clicked together.
You didn't say, oh, I like that. That feel good?
You are a soul that I would love to keep in my life.
So that was last week's episode. Now I gotta give my credit to where it's due. Shout out to Glam Rocks. By the way, like, comment, share, subscribe to that beautiful sister there. This right here is a preview of what's going to be happening tonight at 8/7 Central. Only here. #on keeping it real. So let's watch this little preview from the Never Ever Mets reunion. Here we go.
The reason why Jay and I did not click is because she rude. And all the ladies can attest to that. When she came in, she didn't speak to anybody.
That's a lie.
Like, when you walk into a room, you're supposed to speak like, hello, how y'all doing? You know, whatever.
I said hi.
She didn't do that.
You didn't. Remember, I approached you.
I walked
no,
in
you didn't.
and I said
You didn't
hi.
go. You didn't.
Cinco, he apologized for you because
He said you didn't say hi to us.
Yes.
I don't know about that one.
And he told me that I should talk to you and be cool with you because you're really a cool girl and yada yada. That's the only reason why I spoke
You don't got
to
to
you.
tell me, though.
It's obvious that you don't have friends.
I got lots of
But
friends.
it's just like,
just maybe the older
I
ladies,
did
they don't like
that.
the younger ones.
I did. Girl, you talk about all them lines in your face. Like, stop. You be lucky if you get to my age.
And you see Taronda's face. Now, Jay, to that point, you have went off in the Ready to Love thread. Very nasty, gutter, and trash behavior. Okay, so just wanted to say that. Y'all can tune into that tonight at 8/7 Central on your own, only here. #on keeping it real. Of course, me and GG9 will be live tomorrow, probably around 8 o'clock. I think Josh wants to come through from season 1 and hang out with us there. So I'm going to turn off my camera now because we done the whole show for over an hour. Yes, we have. By the way, I know, it's like, really? But I wanted to bring something up that I did not get the chance to do with you all when it came to the article for Rooster Teeth, right? So this digital careers program, right? Now, I told you about studios, right? And how your movie or TV show could be a Tubi original. We talked about that. We talked about NBC Universal Launch Unscripted Launch Accelerator, where 5 people could receive a $20,000 development deal for NBC Universal. Now, they spun off the networks into Versant. NBC Universal did, so we don't know what's the status with that. Still in consideration, because it was supposed to be the first day of 2025 that we were supposed to get an update, but to no avail. Then the Gravity Creator Collective. I wanted to bring this up here, right? So the selected finalists will have a passion for pop culture, comedy, gaming, and animation across the United States and Canada. They will gain hands-on experience on professional sets, sponsored productions, and exposure to Warner Brothers Discovery executives. Finalists will also receive education and training encompassing production, marketing, business growth, technical skills, content development, partnerships, writing, improv, media training, and more. For the 2023 program, over 400 submissions were received and vetted. To qualify for the program, applicants must have a minimum aggregate of 1,000 followers across relevant platforms: YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, Snap, and or Facebook, maybe Clubhouse, other new platforms are not part of it, but you can use those other platforms to bolster at least minimum 1,000, but you cannot exceed 300,000 followers, right? For podcasters, applicants' podcasts must have an average a minimum of 1,000 downloads per episode. So I'm telling you right now, we saw Fox with Tubi do it. We saw NBC Universal, right? So let me put this down. Hang on real quick, because there is a point to this, ladies and gentlemen, as it often is. Go notepad. Notepad. ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CW. So NBC has done a program, Fox through Tubi has done a program, but ABC, CBS, and the CW do not have content creator incubators or accelerators. That is to come. All right, y'all, that is it for me. Thank you all so much. One love, much love, all love. I feel the love and send it right back to you. I'm going to turn off my camera now once again because we've done the whole show for over an hour as the fireworks are going off behind us here. Don't forget, tonight, 6 p.m., the 27th day of the Diddy trial, as you guys know. That trial day didn't happen because a juror got vertigo and was sick, and then today is going to be very short in testimony. I think it's going to be short to around 1 o'clock, I think. So with that being said, hang on, let me make sure it's a child. I think the testimony is from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Let's see. Diddy trial, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Yep, so today is going to be a abbreviated day of testimony. So testimony start at 9 a.m. It's going to end at 1 p.m. I will be back at 6 p.m. For you all. Actually, you know what? Hang on. Let me see something real quick. Actually, you know what? This is what I'll do. I'll get off of here, do my research, and then I'll decide if I want to go outside or do the show at 2. But either way, you guys will get a show either. Just stay tuned. Okay, one love, much love, all love. I feel the love. I'll be back.
I thought I should tell you they've been talking about you. Yeah, they've been talking about you. They've been talking about the fact that they've done everything they could to stop you and everything they could to block you, but you still win. They've been talking about the fact that they have undermined your success and they have tried to sabotage your seasons, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that even though they don't like each other, they get together to try to kill you, but you keep winning. They've been talking about the fact that you were voted least likely to succeed, but like cream, you keep rising to the top. They've been talking about how they tried to burn your world down, but like the phoenix, you rose from the ashes. They've been talking about you. And you know what they say? Oh, she's just lucky. He's just lucky. But no, you ain't lucky. You're anointed. You got something on you. You got favor on you. You got power on you. You were born to win. Now they can call it luck, but it's grace. They can call it luck, but it's favor. But whatever they call it, it doesn't matter, because you know what God calls you? Do you know what God calls you? A winner.
Prepare for a journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, beyond anything you've experienced before. Universal Epic Universe, a new theme park where you'll step through extraordinary portals to 5 immersive worlds. Prepare for a cosmic voyage of discovery, an isle of fire-breathing excitement, a shadowy world of monsters and mystery, new wonders in the wizarding world, and a new way to play. Plus the splendor of a magnificent resort hotel overlooking the park. It's all new excitement at Universal Orlando Resort. A week's worth of vacation thrills with 4 amazing theme parks, a variety of spectacular themed hotels, and incredible dining and entertainment. It's all at Universal Orlando Resort, where you'll find new adventures every day. Explore the astonishing worlds of Universal Epic Universe at Universal Orlando Resort.